Greetings, everyone. Reincarnation here. Just sitting at my chat room. Sorry. I don't know what happened to it. Disappeared. Okay, got it on. All right. Today, I hope you read the title for today, Reincarnation, and the word karma. Probably two of the most important words that you're ever going to have to deal with if you ever think about life after death or the future of your reality, of who you are and what you are. Going to get into all the different aspects of it, good, bad, and different, what people believe, what people don't believe. But the truth is, for me, I spent my whole life on a spiritual quest, and I found all my answers. And I wish the same for most people, all right? Because you need to ask the right questions, though. And you need to understand what they have to do with as far as your soul, who you really are, the future of your own soul, not the future of the world, the planet, or people. But to start off, reincarnation does exist. And the average soul, which is what you are, reincarnates many times. And believe it or not, it's in the hundreds or multiple hundreds. If you take time when soul first came down and the amount of times it reincarnated, all right, I hope the volume's okay. The amount of times it reincarnates, you can figure about a year, 100 years, all right, per each time. Give or take at years, months, days, whatever. But the average, assume you take about 80, 50, depending on what time frame, you live less or you live longer. What tribe, what race you were. I mean, take all this into consideration, but multiply that by 50,000 years. Divide it by that and see how many times you can fit that into it. Many times. Then take in the amount of time when you die and stay in the astral plane before you reincarnate. So there's many, many incarnations. So you live many lives, you experience many different things, but if you don't remember it, it's all useless. And that's scary because imagine going through your whole life thinking something that's not even real. I'm going to have a problem. My little dogs want to come in and join my conversation. Hold on 1 second. Let me bring them in. Come in, Mr. Gizmo. You're welcome. All right. Sorry about that. My little guy always has to come in and listen for a while. So, assuming you had 300, do you remember any of them? And if you do, how many do you remember? I don't know if you just want me to wear glasses or not. I like does to our picture. Is that okay for you? It's okay for me. So, they say looking in a person's eyes, you can determine who and what they are spiritually, psychically, and every other way, what they vibrate and all that. If you learn how to do that, that's something we'll get into one day. But sticking with the topic, which I'm going to do when I do my discourses at the best I can. So you had multiple lifetimes. During those lifetimes, you had multiple families. Maybe 1 or 2 lifetimes you didn't get married, didn't have a family, you were killed when you were young. I mean, all that you can take into consideration. But you did have many lifetimes, and you did have many kind of semi-relationships, or whatever you want to call it. You fought, maybe you didn't, depending what you were in each lifetime. But all that knowledge is there if you ever tune into it or look for it. There's no sense of going to an experience and then forgetting it. I mean, even the bad experiences help you determine. The other word we're going to be talking about is called karma. Karma is what you create in every lifetime. good or bad. It's like a bank. You keep putting it in this bank, and it'll stay there until you have to pay it off. So the more karma you create, the more karma that's there for you to pay off. And you can't really work out that much karma in a lifetime in any unaware state. And the average soul, people, and I'm not disrespecting people when I say this, the average person, all right, is very unaware of the truth of reincarnation, of their past lives. Never mind what they did in each lifetime, the amount of karma that they created. Most people have a religion, have a spiritual path they say they follow, and all those kind of words. But again, you're listening to one of the most hardcore people on the planet, and I'm not making that up. I only deal with truth, the ultimate truth, not stories, not written down stories. Oh, man. I gotta stop this junk. Wish I could check. Hold on.
Tom, hi.
I don't know what that was about. Middle of my show. All right. I don't know who that was, but sorry, person. So here's the thing. We each have a brain in this body, and this body is how we get around. That body is not you. All right. You are much different than a body. Soul is not anything equal to what the body looks like and acts like and what it does. All right. It's hard to understand that unless you have an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience, you can slightly or partially understand the difference between who and what you really are versus what you think you are. So, in all these lifetimes, you're probably the most aware you have ever been in the present. And you know what that means? Very little. Because how many people remember any of their past lives? Any of them. If you do, you're lucky you remember one or two. There's one religion, the teacher and master says he'll tell you what your last life was. But then you have to believe somebody telling you what your life was. You should never live on belief, because it's not going to get you anywhere, because there's very little truth in any belief system out there. I'm not trying to teach you a belief system. I'm trying to teach you how to find your truth. And only you can do that. Nobody can give it to you. People can tell you things, and they could be right on about certain things. Right? Aura, which is surrounding you, is kind of like an open book. If you can see that aura, you can read many things about a person, their energy level, what they're going through, and things like that. Then add to that death. When a person dies, their aura stays here. Their energy level stays here. And that's what most psychics read. But I brought this out in my first workshop, Discourse, whatever you want to call it, about death and souls. If you're still dealing with them, they're not in a higher place. Or place. That's ridiculous. God doesn't come into hell. God doesn't come down here, people. You could believe what you want. You could say what you want. And you could feel what you want. The mind can create whatever it wants. Doesn't make it real. If you're out of the body and experience something, I guarantee that's 100% real. Because it's you as your true soul with awareness. That's not the mind. But now, the problem with that is when soul comes back into the body, it's got to fight with mind to get things back and forth. And most of the time, mind doesn't accept what soul says. I mean, you're shown an experience, but you don't remember it. Well, the mind doesn't perceive it. Oh, it's not real. And it forgets it. Now, I'm not going to go into dreams, in this talk today, but dreams are important. And then the most important part of that is lucid dreaming. The same as when you start to go to sleep is the easiest time for you to step out of your body and be aware of it. So there's a lot of things you need to know if you're really trying to move ahead spiritually or aware into a more aware state. I'll tell you this right now. We're lucky if one person on this planet is really spiritual. And they don't, no soul stays here if they're spiritual. No soul stays here if they're spiritual. Going into hell, what do you think you do in hell? Do you think Jesus or Buddha or anybody went into hell to save the world? I'm telling you this. You can fight in hell, meaning here, and you can also fight in the astral plane. But does it do anything? Fighting in the astral plane is so different because you can't kill people in the astral plane. You can kill people here, which means it forces their soul to go somewhere based on their karma. Now, karma and reincarnation are critically linked together. Most people can't talk about it because they don't know about it. And if they do, everybody I listen to is very short on truth. Oh, well, I reincarnated, I come back, I want to come back and say, so I want to do this, you don't have much to say. It's not about what you want or think or feel. Oh, I'm going to come back with my family. No, it's not like that. If you worked out a lot of your karma, you can come back and maybe be within your family. But what good is that? They're not going to know who you are. You're not going to know who they are. If you were aware of all your past lives, you would know that, but you are probably not going to remember any of them. So saying I live eternally, I'm eternally here, what does it mean? If you don't know any of the time that you have been here. For me personally, I started experiencing many things when I was young. But when I was about 25 to 45, I started seeing all my past lives. And there were many. And I learned and I understood and I related to that. But there's always one answer or one question. The question is, why am I here? All right, which everybody asks themselves. And then you get what's a good word? Some person thinking they know everything tells you, oh, you're here to do this. What are you here to do? What? Be a bartender? Be a drug dealer? To work for a bank? To be president? What's the big deal that you think your important mission to be in this lifetime is? If you attain the highest thought of what you can become, what would it be other than rich and famous? What do you think is important? Well, having a family. Well, poor people, homeless people, drug addicts all have families. Does that make them spiritually aware or important? Never mind, important to God itself. People don't relate to any kind of truth. I don't know why. I had problems through every religion I studied because they don't offer anything important. I don't like to listen to anybody's story, friends or foe, because they're not going to tell me anything that's important to learn or know. I'd be lucky if I ever get anything important in the rest of my life that could help me greatly. Oh, that's so egotistic. No, it's not. You experience as many things as I did, including death. It's an open book. It's not complicated. Mankind complicates, makes it more harder to understand, more harder to attain or achieve. And when you got all these speakers telling you you're a nobody until you realize you're a higher dimensional being, and telling you you're a nobody or nothing, you can become your higher self. You're the highest you're ever going to be right now. That's who you are. That's what you are. When they say become higher self, you can become aware of who you really are is different than becoming a higher self. You're not going to change because you became aware of who you are. All right. Try to follow. When you're born, you have very little awareness to things in this reality. Now, soul's in that body. Soul doesn't have a time clock, doesn't deal with things like that. So it perceives a lot of things when it's little, but mind's not controlling it. Why? Mine's a computer chip. Mine's a computer. Without anything programmed into it, it can't do anything. Leave a newborn child there and let it do whatever it's going to do. The only thing it's going to do is die. All right? So obviously, there's no communication between anything. Soul can't make the baby do anything because the mind controls the body. Soul has to communicate with the mind for the body to work with it. And they have to learn to work together at some level. Meaning you got to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom, you got to do this, you got to eat, you got to drink. But outside of that, the programs you got to be programmed with, well, you got to be a supervisor, you got to be a Batman, run around and pretend, you got to be this, you got to do that, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be a doctor. All right? You want to be a football player. But a lot of that comes from programming. I mean, if you sit there and watch football every day, you maybe want to play sports and you get into it. You drive around on a little go-kart. You want to be a racer. I mean, I can go into what I wanted to be when I was little. I attained part of it, or most of it. I wanted to work for the phone company. I worked for the phone company. I wanted to learn about space and all that. I met with an alien, not on a friendly level. I saw ships. I keep saying met, sorry, I don't know why I'm using that word. I was next to a Bigfoot. All those things. Was it what I wanted? No, but it's what I learned to be true and real. So for the average person to accept these things without any experience, they won't. How many people actually believe aliens are real and here? How many people believe that there's a Bigfoot here, really? I'm saying, and this is what I feel totally, by the end of this year, everybody's going to know that a Bigfoot's real. Not that it changes much because it's not like a super outrageous thing. But if they know that aliens are real, it'll open up a bigger doorway. Then it kind of goes against their religion and everything else they believe in. So, and I'm not saying religion's right, because religion's programmed by man, not by God, not by angels. I mean, Muhammad said he worked with Gabriel and his teachings came from him. But angels aren't God either. Angels are not great teachers. Not to teach you things outside of yourself and learning about the inner worlds. They're not here to make you be better and rich or whatever words you want to use here on planet Earth. Why? They're here to teach you about soul, what it is, what it can do, how it travels, and where it goes when it becomes an aware being. Not how to build a house, how to build a car, build a spaceship. That all comes out of ego and programmed minds that have been being programmed more and more. See, it's not like you learn new programs. It's that program that's fed to families that are still alive when you come into this reality. Because if everybody died at the same time and everybody was born at the same time, we wouldn't go nowhere. All right? The little that we would move forward wouldn't be very much. But there's always people programming the people that come in to the programs that they have. Animals are different. They're born with a natural instinct. That instinct stays with them from birth to death to the next. All the babies are born, children, fishes, all different animals, all creatures. It's an awareness it has. It's an ingrained awareness. But it's not awareness of God, aware of spirit. It's aware of survival. Humans have a survival instinct. But then again, without programming, they can't touch it. A baby doesn't learn survival by itself. It can't. So when people go on and on about certain things, it's mind-boggling that they believe it. I said, you ever take one of your thoughts and, I don't know if I'm squinting more because I don't have my, I said I keep my eyes, I guess I keep my eyes open a little better. So people, when they go into their belief system, I challenge people day after day. What's your belief system? What do you believe in? What's your truth? Oh, I got my truth. Listen to it. Ask somebody their truth. See what they can tell you. Not very much. I said, that's your truth? That's what you learned? But no matter how old you are, all the time you've spent, that's what you know? What do you know? Nothing? Oh, well, I believe. Believing is not knowingness. Knowingness is important. Belief is not. You might have to have a belief system to find knowingness. You have to believe you can find knowingness. All right? And that's the first step. That's like saying, like when The Secret came out, knowing and telling yourself you can get money, you can. Sure, you can get anything you want. But is it right? Is it just is what soul needs? It might be what the mind needs. It might be what your body thinks it needs. Jobs. What job is really beneficial to soul? Well, from my experiences, I can tell you, jobs that are important to you is what helps you understand who you are. And one way to do that is be around children, be around drug addicts, be around different kinds of people and see where they go, what they do. Children are always more aware of everything than adults are. Because at that point, a child's soul is not listening to the programs of the mind yet. I mean, when a baby first sees light and things like that, a lot of babies are born, they can see the light. They can't speak yet, and they're forced to learn a language to speak, which we didn't do a long time ago, talking about in Atlantis. So time is critical to the soul in this body, because you have 125 years to attain everything you're supposed to learn in a lifetime, and nobody does. People die at 50, 60, 70. Some people die at 10, 1. So you die at different ages. Why? Okay, now let me try to put this together for you. Karma is what you do, what you deserve, what you don't deserve, you get. All right, no, it's what you do is what you get. All right, in your lifetimes. What were you? What did you do in your last life? The life before that? You probably, in most cases, are the best you ever were in any lifetime right now. Which means you were never aware, ever. All right? And if you thought you came from a caveman or any story that you believed in, what did you think you learned about God or death? Without a death experience, you're not going to know anything about death. Out-of-body experience, you'll understand soul being not the body. And that's one of the most important steps in spiritual awareness, or just awareness in general. Without it, you truly can't understand it. Remote viewing is not the same as astral projection. And both can be used. Remote viewing is not a beneficial spiritual word, but astral projection can be used very wisely or very unwisely. You can project yourself into somebody's house. Unwise. Project yourself on the other side of the planet, which is not, it's okay, but what are you going to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to learn? All right. It's always about what is it going to teach you? Being around people doing drugs hopefully will teach you that that's not where you want to be. Doing ayahuasca and LSD and tripping out teaches you that there's dimensional realities that look cool or are great, but they don't teach you much about it directly. Being in a dimension, or put yourself in a giant swimming pool, and you can breathe underwater. Swim around all you want, jump up out of the water, jump in it, but what are you learning? Nothing. You got all that space to swim around in and stuff, say the size of the ocean. But what are you going to learn? That's when you have to separate movement from reality of soul learning or your awareness changing. Realizing you're in water. Okay, I'm in water. Now what? I could breathe underwater. Now what? Now what do you do? Swim around and breathe underwater. You don't do anything else. What do you think fish do all day long? Just eat. So yeah, some creatures sleep. All right, sharks. Some sharks don't, but many do. But again, see, you can't compare things in general. People say, well, fish are fishing. A mammal is different than not, because the whale and dolphin have a brain equal to the human brain. A dolphin's brain, and a dolphin's not a porpoise, but even though they consider them the same, all right, there's a difference. A bottlenose dolphin, the brain is about 1/4 of an inch smaller than a human brain. And they have awareness greater than humans do. But their limitations is their way they can communicate. All right. They communicate with each other. They have sex, they have birth, they nurse their children, babies, calves, and all that. But here's the thing, they communicate with each other, and whales can communicate with whales around the world. That's their system. And dolphins use radar and sonar. They look inside your body. They see what you ate even. They know everything about you. They can't say hello. I mean, they'll come up to you and nudge you and things. But a dolphin's the only creature that can learn 150 words. Even a monkey can only learn 50. So the technology and that we use to try to teach things, we don't know how to communicate right. So you can't teach a creature how to communicate better. Even though the government and the army has been killing dolphins like 10,000 a year, trying to torture them, trying to make them do things. And, it's sad because whatever is right, mankind will make it wrong. Whatever is good, mankind will make it bad. They don't make things better. Oh, well, this is better. It's faster. No. Cars running on free energy would be better than cars running on batteries. Dolphins are incredible. I spent parts of my life working, studying with dolphins. I met the trainer of Flipper before he created the scenarios of having pools with dolphins in them. Now he's so sorry he did that. But even the army came to him and wanted him to train dolphins to kill humans. But I'm not going to get into that. But they are much more intelligent than any other creature on the planet. Here in Hawaii, they recently passed a law that you can't swim near dolphins. They're so afraid. We're going to destroy their reality. No, they don't want them to help us in our reality. See, I'm trying to keep it together, all the same things relating to what we're doing. But dolphins have a way to heal people, communicate with them, teach them. Now, I had a friend here. I brought him on my show once, a long time ago. He doesn't have a lot of money, but he was taking families, a wife that's pregnant, out into the ocean and have dolphins surround them when the child's being born. It's an incredible experience because the dolphins come there. They do prayers that night, and when they get to the water, the dolphins surround them. Now, tell me that's not incredible communication. Then they hit the baby with their beams of energy that they use. It actually makes the child smarter, and it makes them able to communicate with dolphins. I'm not making this up. I like I said, my friend was outlawed in Hawaii. He can't do it in Hawaii no more. He has to go to other countries with a family and bring them out there to do it. You're not allowed to go near dolphins. You can't do birthing with dolphins. All these things. The government doesn't want people to become more aware. Dolphins could teach us just as much as we could teach them. Maybe even more. I mean, they like to play. They like to do things. They love sex. They love a lot of things that humans do. But they like to be around humans. And if you ever heard stories all your life, it was always dolphins saving a person that was drowning with something. So why would a creature that doesn't know the other creature save them? So they're incredible beings. But the last thing I'll say about it, dolphins and whales create energy on this planet that help mankind. The whales especially, because their sounds go around the planet. All right, now let's get back to, all right, what are we learning? How are we going to become aware? How are we going to understand our karma? Well, again, there's spiritual exercises for a word, or not different forms of meditation that could help you take the next step. Now, when you do take your next step, you can't do it by yourself. I don't care what people say. It's not like that. That's why there's angels. All right? And that's why there's demons. When you open yourself up to a world that's beyond this, both of them are there. Demons want to abuse you, and angels want to try to help you. But they're not here to save you from getting hit by a car, getting a better job. That's not what angels are for. And everything that, if you read the Quran and read what Gabriel told Muhammad, read them. You should look it up. If you want to understand Muslim, you need to understand what they believe in and why. I'm not going to go into that. But read it yourself, and you'll see that out of the 32, I'd say roughly 36 things that Gabriel told Muhammad, Every third one contradicts the one that he said before it. And why would that happen? An angel's not going to contradict themselves. They're intelligent beings now. They're angels. They're not just a soul going to the astral plane and coming back. They're much more different. Their knowledge is much different. Their awareness is so different. So, and they're not going to teach you about popcorn or spaghetti or cars and things like that. They're not. That's not what they're here for. They're not going to teach you about sex either. They're not going to talk to you about control over women and things like that. The only thing they're going to teach you is how to get out of your body and how to start learning how to travel in the astral plane. That's where you have to learn how to travel first before you go anywhere else. And that's why astral projection is really critical. But you do need a guide to teach you. I mean, you can go into an exercise, practice it every day, and I was out of my body. Where do you go? What do you do? You don't know the inner worlds. It's not like you suddenly become aware and know them. You don't. It takes years and years to learn that. But if you don't have a guide, you're going to take lifetimes to do the same thing. I dropped you off in the middle of a jungle that's maybe, say 1,000 miles wide. You'd never find anything. You never figure anything out. You'd be wandering around just looking at trees and weeds and animals chasing you. So without a guide, which is why they're there. God was not ignorant. I mean, people say, well, God lets people die. God lets children die. You don't know why, because you don't know anything about karma. Children die because of karma, not because you're a bad teacher or bad. You see, let me get into that before I get too lost. Karma determines what you're going to come back when you reincarnate. Determines it. You don't. You don't have the option to say, well, I'm going to be a high priest. I'm going to be a minister. I'm going to be the president. I'm going to be the vice president. I'm going to be this or that. No, you don't. All right. You say, I'm going to pick my old family. No, you're not. Because your karma has to be equal to the vibration that you're going to step into. You don't get the privilege of going into some other kind of karma that's going to take you to a totally different realm or of reality in this world. You can't be a beggar, homeless person, and a thief and expect to be born in a multi-billionaire family, rich and happy the rest of your life. But then again, there's a lot of karma there. Richness creates more karma than anything else on this planet. It's called ego. It intensifies ego. Ego destroys you from growing, period. The second you think you're better than anybody, you're already out of the picture. To think you're more important, which all these New Age speakers are trying to tell you, you're so much more important. To who? To your own ego. Thinking you're here to help other people. Look at the world. Are we helping each other in any way? We'll send money to a country. You know, what was it, during that, whatever that war was, we sent all this food over there. And the army, the enemy was taking all the food every time we dropped it off. So, you know, you can do things thinking you're doing it in a good way. Even love can be a bad thing. What you do in a relationship, what you do with children. Most parents abuse children. I'd say about 99% of all families, male or female, man or mother or father, actually abuse their children without knowing it. Forcing a child to do anything is abuse to the child. You say you want freedom, but you won't give it to your child. You won't let him grow and learn what he wants to do, what he wants to be. I mean, then there's things pushed on him. I mean, Cher was my idol as far as a singer and stuff. When I watched her, Sonny and Cher, and they had the daughter, and then the daughter changed the sex and things like that. You know, you're around show business is one of the worst places to hang out. All right. Money, when people deal with lots of money, morals get lost. You do what you want. You think you can do what you want. Now, I'm just watching this couple that did a TV show. He was a rich guy with two children. They were both like this and that. He could go to jail for 30 years for fraudulent hoarding money and all kinds of stuff. So richness, and I'll say this because Jesus said it many times. He actually said it 3 times in the Bible itself. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why would he say that? Because it's so true. Everything that's going to keep you here has to do with money, fame, power. But the one word that's critical, poor, rich, or not, is attachment. If you're attached to cars, you'll come back. If you're attached to trees, you'll come back. You're attached to anything here, you'll come back for it. Thinking it's important. It's important to you. No, it's not. You believe it to be important to you. Does anything you do show you any more about God than what it says on a piece of paper? Please tell me, write me, tell me, text me. What you perceive that God helped you understand. He saved your life. Why? All right. Karma decides what happens to you every single second. Your karma, you got a lot of karma, you're going to have to pay bits of heavy karma here and there to start working it off. No karma, you live a pretty smooth life. Considering if you don't create any more karma, which is almost impossible, or any big karma, you're going to have serious problems. Killing people, no matter who told you to do it or why you did it, is the biggest thing you could do to create karma. Second thing to that is child abuse or woman abuse or man abuse, however, is creating so much karma you cannot pay it off in a lifetime. Christians, please read the Bible, read Revelations. I'll tell you to read it 3 times in a row. Stop where John tells you what sins can't be forgiven. Read it over. Put it in your brain what John said. St. John wrote Revelations. Read what he said. What sins can't be forgiven. And if he doesn't know, if he didn't know, who would? And why would he say that if it wasn't true? So sins is a word that they used then. Karma is the word that we should be using now. All right. Good karma, bad karma. Hurt somebody, it's bad karma. Heal somebody, help somebody, people believe it's good karma. Give a homeless person food one day and then say, I did a great miracle, is karma. Thinking you did something good and you're going to get something in reward for it is also karma. See, karma is everywhere. Everything you do, everything you think, and every action you create. So any bad thoughts, the medicine woman I studied with for many years said, what you should do is take any negative thought when you perceive it, throw it into a river in your mind and watch it get washed away. Get rid of it. Because karma is like voodoo, witchcraft, and all those words. You put it out there, it's going to affect something. All right. It's a real fine balance between karma and witchcraft and psychic abilities and all of them. They all kind of merge together at some level. Well, that guy hit me, I'm going to punch him out. Or I hope he has an accident and dies, or whatever. Those thoughts go out. They're energy. Everything we do is energy. And dreaming and saying, I'm going to change all the energy, like some people say, people, one of my biggest, I don't know what word to use, but Stephen Greer, who's trying to create the whole UFOs disclosure, is out in left field. Sorry, people. Anybody following him, I wish you would debate me and talk about the truth, because he sure doesn't know it. I'm not saying people can't talk to aliens, but why would they want to? They've been around hundreds of thousands of years. And did they do anything for mankind ever? Or will they help us? I just listened to a native person speaking about how the star people are their gods and they help them. Help them what? There was 50 million native people here 400 years ago. You know how many are left? Full native blood people. 3/4 of 1 million. Did their teachings or their knowledge or any of that help them? They were all killed, slaughtered. Is that the way you want to leave this world? It might be the way we all end up leaving because the government's really playing games with us, but how do you want to go? Getting back to the word killing is the biggest thing you can do for karma. Sorry, people. The truth is the truth. Whether you want to hear it or not, it doesn't change. Well, that's a good way to word it. Well, I'll tell you, I tell the truth. I don't lie about anything in my life. I was a high priest from 16 to maybe 22 or something like that. I studied 16 religions. All right. But in that interim, I was playing with There's 32 psychic abilities. I know if you go online, you can pull up 120, but a lot of them are just man-made ridiculous ideas of throwing bones on the ground, burning paper, and all those kind of things. They're not psychic abilities. They give them a word, bone reading and paper reading, tea leaves, and all those things. That's not very important considering if you talk about the main words. Soul travel, reincarnation, all the things that you can do, or bringing a soul back from the dead. How many people can do that? How many people in history could do that? Can all the famous spiritual people do any of it? Now, I don't like to attack religions, but people believe that over the truth any given day. Because somebody wrote something makes it important to them. Like people believe the Anunnaki story. People believe that they created us. Well, that eliminates God from your picture and eliminates the truth completely. Believe aliens brought you here? Well, they did. Was God responsible for that? Of course it was. But just think, dinosaurs were here. The roach has been here since the beginning of time. Why? So you have to look at things in a bigger picture, how they got here, why they're here, or why they were always here. All right. So when you become aware, you start looking, why are you really here? To start a milk company, start a bread company, start a potato factory. What are you here for? Really? Well, I think I could start a new drug. I'm sorry, I don't want to mention that word. I'll get booted off real fast. But look at the commercials on TV. Watch any commercial about any so-called, what I just mentioned. What do they say? What can it do to you? I'm not going to go into details. Just watch a commercial. Watch any commercial on any of the prescription drugs that they advertise on the internet all day long. Watch what they say. But other words, you can't use that with any other. See, this is where I'm going to get twisted. I can't say anything else. Text me. Talk to me on Skype. You want the truth. But again, we play here. And we're given all the tools we want to play with. And all man does is make the tools they play with bigger, better, and more expensive. They don't do anything else better than that. Whether it's a car, spaceship, plane, boat, submarine, toys, the toys are incredible. I wish I had all these toys when I was little, but we didn't. But they take your attention off of life, of you, who you are, what you are, to bring you into this mechanical world. And it's called artificial intelligence, which is being fed to us every single second of the day. And we are going to become that, people. Because most of us won't be here, and the ones that aren't going to be able to do much. Because you're going to have a robot 1,000 times smarter than you are, much stronger than you are. Why do they need you? If they get the robots creating, helping, repairing robots, what do they need you for at all? The few people that are going to run everything, who are they? And why would they do that? Then you have to think, who controls this planet? Why are we all stuck here? Because Satan, not aliens, controls it. Satan controls a lot of the alien races as well. They can't teach you about God. No alien race can. I mean, they'll talk great stories about a lot of different things. Even the alien interrogation. Listen to it. Watch it. It's real. There's about 4 parts of it. Watch it. The alien interrogation. All right. It was done a long time ago. And it was with Evie. And they had him. And they questioned him. And they asked him all these kind of questions. Made him answer them. Tried to. But listen to what he said. It's his programming that he had to speak from. Just because you're alive and you went to college doesn't mean you know anything. Just because you're talking doesn't mean you're saying the truth either. All right. When you speak, are you speaking from ego? You're speaking from mind? Or you're speaking from soul? 3 separate places. Mind usually goes with ego, and soul goes against both of them. So last week, the first discourse, I talked about how to determine who's talking to who first. Realize whether it's mind or soul talking to you. Once you learn that, you can start developing a communication with soul rather than the mind. At that point, you'll start learning how to become an aware being. Soul's not going to get you pulled into the garbage that we've got to pull ourselves into. We spend half of our lives. Now, I do this all the time. How much time do we spend sleeping? I don't sleep much anymore. How much time do you spend sleeping? How much time do you spend taking a shower? How much time do you spend eating? How much time do you spend brushing your teeth? How much time you spend dressing yourself? How much time you go shopping? How much time? Okay, all that together. How much time do you vacation? Most people get 2 weeks a year. All right. What do you get out of that? I don't have to think about work for 2 weeks. Uh, Again, that sounds like slavery to me. Our minds aren't free to think freely because it's always programmed to think how much it has to pay for rent and food and everything else that it has to do. It's a program world, people, and you're in a horrible program. And I like the word matrix. Watch the movie, watch the first one, and watch the last one. It was different, the last one, but you need to watch the ending of it. The most important part of the Matrix, the newest one that just came out, is the very end. Listen to it. It's 100% right on. Watch it, people. If you watch that 2 or 3 times, you might just become aware, much more aware than you are right now. There's only a few movies that I ever tried to promote, but that's one. If you watch it, you're going to get pulled into the story and everything else, but watch the ending. The most truest statement comes out of that. Like the other one with he's the devil, and he's controlling everything. He's controlling his son and everything. But at one point they ask him, "Well, what are you going to do?" "I'm going to make this the worst place. It's going to be so bad. It's going to spiral up into God and make him do something." But some people believe that, and they're working at that level without even knowing it. Let's make the world worse than it is. Let's fracture the planet. Let's pour chemicals inside it. Let's suck everything out of it. Let's destroy it every which way we can. Let's make sure we burn down half of the planet. Make sure we destroy our ozone layer. Let's just create and destroy. I listened to government people. They were talking. They said they could recreate the ozone level in a year's time. They could create something, but they're not. Does that sound something like very ridiculous? Does it sound like a lie? Does it sound like a twisted lie? Or does it sound like something very evil? We can. We can means we could, and we don't. So when we talk about spiritual awareness, are you ready? I know most people hear about 5 words and I don't want to hear that. I don't want to listen. Because you don't want to hear the truth. You want to live in a programmed idea. Everything's beautiful. It's going to become beautiful, and everything's going to be okay. For who? The few souls that are going to get stuck on this planet after we destroy it, mostly? Do you realize we're so close to World War III? We're so close to destroying the planet itself. I mean, we're doing a lot of things, people. Why do you think there's a mad rush to get off the planet? Thinking they could hide from what's happening here. But go somewhere where there's nothing? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? When we could stop what we're doing right now and make it better. I mean, if you care about the planet, you say you do. All these people, Musk, Gates, Bosco, I mean, all the multi-rich people on this planet. What are they doing to save mankind? Now, I just heard that the electric car, 100 people had accidents, 4 people died since the beginning of the year with an automatic electric Tesla car. So, and basically that's saying, well, it's still better than if everybody was just driving regular cars. Tesla said that the company came out and said that their cars, I think wasn't Musk actually said it himself, but are 200% better than a human driving. So it's a number based on the amount of numbers of different things happening. Is it good or bad? When you talk about artificial intelligence, it means let's eliminate humans. So you're not going to have to worry about dying because you're going to die pretty soon because of all the things we're creating and doing. But are you prepared to go somewhere? Are you? I got to go into the other word much more before I end this. But where are you prepared? What are you prepared? Reincarnation is as real as you could ever possibly think or even not think about. All right? It would be useless for soul to come back if it wasn't for a reason. It's useless being here if it wasn't for a reason. If you don't learn those reasons, it still becomes useless information. And that's why this is called hell. Hell is a place you need to get out of, not a place you need to stay. With Bozo trying to keep us here longer, he wants to have all these scientists invent ways to save and live forever. Really? Why would you want to live in hell forever? Because you didn't experiencing anything better. And please, I give my life, my word, that it gets better and better and better. Not here on this planet. It won't. We got what, almost 8 billion people on the planet. We got over 2,000 religions. I don't know how many different gods and belief of gods and things like that. We got a long way to go. And to think we're going to go into the Garden of Eden, which we were once, all right, and that was in the beginning. When 9 races were brought to this planet, we all had psychic abilities. We had 32 psychic abilities, and we could use all of them. But there was no words as bad, rape, and abuse, and killing, all those sacrifice. Those words didn't exist. God doesn't make junk. We do. But guess what? That's when the Anunnaki and another race came down, the reptilian race, the Draconians, okay? When they reprogrammed us to believe in eating animals, making women slaves, sacrificing them, and things like that. Things we didn't need. It wasn't about gold, people. Gold was always here. It wasn't like we ran out of gold and aliens had to come here to mine gold. We can make gold now. We can actually make it. And if we could do it now, the alien races could do it a long time ago. They didn't need gold for their area, the energy around their planet and things like that. You hear stories. They were 1,000 times more advanced than us, always. And they didn't need us puny little people trying to find gold the way we did. They could just make it rise out of the ground if they wanted to get gold. They did have more abilities with technology than we ever did to this day. And we're only learning parts of theirs now. People, are you ready for the truth? All right. When we deal with what's going on in reincarnation, coming back to a world that's going to be worse than when we left it isn't a good idea. So it would be better to not come back. Doesn't it sound like, well, if this is going to be worse, why would I want to come back here? So you should think about that while you're here, working on getting out of here, not while you're going to stay here. Imagine every car was electric. Did that solve any problems? How do you charge an electric car? With energy from electric lines that charge it. So they're still burning fuel. So, it's a contradictory. Unless everything's solar, but to make solar cells and everything that's being made is still 90% of just about everything being made is based on oil, made from oil. So, it's a twisted idea when they program us to believe that things are going to get better. It gets different, not better, just different. Technology doesn't make us better spiritually or more aware. It just makes us high-tech people, just like alien races are. They're high-tech. If they were high-tech, don't you think they can make this world a better place, make us more useful and beneficial to everybody, including them? And they don't. People think aliens are going to help us. Help us do what? Discover God? No. And how many people you think they want here? The same as the human race, our government. How many humans alive do you think they need or want here? You think they want sick people here? You think they want all these poor people here? They want people they can control and make work that are going to be here. Doing whatever they want them to do. Not what the people want to do, but what they need them to do. So, reincarnation, before you reincarnate, you should think about not reincarnating. You don't have to. Don't believe anybody says you have to reincarnate. If your karma is bad, you kill somebody, you're going to reincarnate whether you want it or not. But if you're living a balanced life and truly believe it, you should be attaining enlightenment. Not from a book, not from some person's words. I can't give you enlightenment. You have to create it within yourself. You have to attain it. But you have to learn how to do that. I give you techniques and things that you've got to do to get there, but you still got to do it yourself. I mean, how many people out there charge you lots of money to give you nothing? The Secret was the stupidest secret ever released. Because it wasn't a secret. It was ridiculous. I know they came out with a new secret as well, just rather this year. It's mind-boggling how mankind doesn't look at the facts ever, and they accept the trivial stories that come out of it. Reincarnation is like the last step that you'll go through before you decide you want to become an aware being. So that means you reincarnate again before you start taking the last step to become an aware being. Oh, well, I got to be back with my family. Why? What are you going to do for them? Now, if you say a ghost or a spirit, you can communicate with them. You turn on their lights. And I watched a video last night. This lady's talking to a spirit that turns on the TV, turns it off, does whatever she asks. And they were filming the whole thing the whole time. Whether it was real or not doesn't matter. It's just the idea that if it's true, they're working with a spirit that's not in the higher realm. Because they got nothing else to do but play with TVs and things like that. When you put your life on somebody else, you're defeating what God created you. When you think you can save mankind, you're really delusional. When you think you can do anything for anybody else, you're delusional. Praying for the world? You don't think people have been praying since the beginning of time? And we're in the worst condition we have ever been in. Why is that? Where are all these prayers supposedly going? Who's helping them attain anything? I look at all the religions. I mean, religions were killing each other always. So all their prayers, what good were they? I mean, my partner's a Buddhist. I look at Buddhism. I look at how that went down. Nothing goes down good when it comes to religion. Almost every war was based on religion. All the wars in history. Even fighting over the artifacts of Jesus. And that was country after country fighting over the spear that pierced Jesus, his robe, any part of it. It was the Ten Commandments. I mean, the Ark of the Covenant and things like that. All these little things that they've been fighting over. It's always about religion and power. Thinking something's going to give them more power. To what? To take over the world. Does that have anything to do with spiritualism, awareness, and stepping out of this realm to go to a higher realm? They're not going to attain it. They can't attain it. When you're thinking about killing people, you lose any part of becoming spiritually aware. I'm sorry, people. We're in a very bad time. People look down at the truth, and they accept any lie that comes out. If I could lie to you right now, I'll bet you would send me a lot of money. I can tell you lots of things that you might want to hear. When you go to a psychic, and you pay them anywhere from $75 to $500, the average price. Some of them are $500, many of them are. Some of them are $200, some of them are cheap because they're just doing it from door to door kind of thing. What do you think they're going to tell you? Now, if a person's trying to make money off of you, they're going to say something good to you, and then they'll say, there's demons trying to get you, and you have to protect yourself from them, and you'll have to do this. But outside of that, oh, your mother said she loves you. Your father says he loves you. What if you killed your father? You know that. Oh, your mother or your father loves you. And really? You know, they have to tell you things that make you happy that you gave them money. If they told you we're going to die tomorrow, your father was going to be hit by a bus and this and that within the next 2 weeks, and then you're going to get on a plane and it's going to crash. You want to pay for that? I doubt it. I'm sure you wouldn't want to pay for that. So they have to tell you good things. And if they're really bad, which is many, will tell you things like, well, you have to put your protection up because demons going to take you and blah, blah, blah. So you got to burn candles. I will bless the candles for you. That kind of stuff is out there. But a lot of psychics now are there for healing. And everybody thinks they could go to a psychic to get healed. Everything you're going through has to do with karma. All right? So when you get sick and die, you lose an arm, you lose a leg, it's because of things you did in your lifetimes. Everything, people, it's not, well, maybe this, maybe, no, it's all deadlocked by what you did already. So when you say, well, I'm going to go to a psychic and get healed, what are you getting healed of? Why do you think you have it? I know I had things in my life. I got to die. And you have to have something to die of. If you're perfectly healthy, the only other way you're going to die is if a plane or a car hits you. And it's kind of not the way I want to go out. I have my own way that I want to leave this planet, but again, most people want to leave when they're sleeping. Well, you know what that means? You go to sleep and you never wake up. And you'll never remember that you're reincarnating again. All right? You're not even aware of it. So there's things you should be aware of, like why, all right, and stuff like that, before that happens to you. When you're getting ready to die and you're on your bed dying, if you're lucky enough to be aware, not like instant death in 5 minutes, 2 seconds, whatever, what are you thinking about? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? All those questions should be answered already. You should know that stuff. And you can. Know that you're not going to be able to do much for your family when you leave. That's the first thing. When you come back if you came back 5 years from now, you're not going to help them. All right? But you got to think about that because you're on your dying bed, and when death's coming over you, and you realize it's going to be your last breath, what are you thinking? Who are you going to meet? What are you going to do? Do you even have an angel, a guide, or anything that you want to meet? Or do you know how to get to where you need to go when you do die? It's not like because you die, you don't become an angel. You don't become an aware being because you die. If you did, there'd be nobody reincarnating. People, there's so much to learn in so little time in 125 years, even if you live to 125. So it's up to you, people, to start saying to yourself, I want more truth, more awareness, and work for it. Now, one day I'll maybe in the next couple of weeks, I'll get into meditation and its steps and all those kind of things. But you need to want it, people. You need to want it really bad. Understand the limitations. You can say, God, well, make me become aware. If I don't learn it by Friday, I'm going to go to Satan. I mean, I challenged God 3 times, but don't think you can and get away with it easily. Don't think it has to do what you challenge it to do. You think God cares about you. Oh, he loves me. He protects me. Doesn't protect you in this body. He protects your soul that you don't even know. All right. So, we're running out of time. I'm going to be 70 December. And that's old. I didn't want to live this long. I never did. I thought 30 was old. I thought 50 was super old. But 70 is way, way, way old. So now I had 5 chances to leave my body. I had 5 death experiences. The last one, when I truly thought I was going to leave, I decided to stay. And I had the choice. It says, you got a choice. I mean, I wanted to finish my book, the last book I put out, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. But people, you don't want the truth. You don't want to read the truth, do you? You don't want to know that there's better places to be than here. Oh no, we got a beautiful ocean. We got a beautiful forest that we're burning down, contaminating, destroying. But can you even face that? Can you face what we're doing? So you want to reincarnate to do what? Why would you want to reincarnate? A bad soul and want to do all these bad things again. I mean, I told my cousin many years ago, you can do something, create karma, and you'll have to come back and do it all over again. Because you mean I get to do it all over? If he did something bad to a girl or a guy, whatever you want to say, you can come back and do it over and over and get away with it and come back and do it over and over again? Never mind looking at it's bad. It's not helping you go anywhere beneficial. It's not helping you become aware. People are more like the word attachment better than awareness. I'll tell you right now, and I know people can't accept this either. There's not any super spiritual person on this planet, even though Jesus said there will be one, but he's not here yet. Maybe I'm the one, I wish. But again, who has the knowledge to teach people anything about the truth? The real truth, not stories, not programmed ideas, not handed down stories over and over and over. Not somebody that wrote something 20,000 years ago that says, well, this is the truth. Really? What did he know? How much do we know now? So how much would he know then? But he was an alien. Well, he knew a lot, and that's why we're still just living like we are, like animals. So people, I talked about reincarnation and karma. They go together. Nobody dies and says, I'm going to come back and be this or that. You don't have the right to. When you come back, means you have karma, meaning you have to work that karma out. If you create more karma, you're not working out the karma that you came here with, even. So learning how not to create karma is the most critical thing you need to learn while you're walking around every day. How to pay off karma. Feeding homeless people is not paying off karma. You might think it is. Well, I'm going to send love to the world. That's not paying off karma. You're not sending anything to the world except your ego. Send your compassion to all these countries starving. You think it's helping the children that die every minute, every hour? Your unconditional love's not helping them much, is it? But people say, oh, I send unconditional love, so I'm a spiritual being. Saying you love God and know God is a complete lie. For 99.9% of the people on the planet, some people know God. Not because they talk to him, because God doesn't talk to people on this planet or in the lower realms. That's why there's deities there. The deities are the ones you're going to talk to. You can think they're God. I mean, they're God at that level. They sure are. But they're not the God. They're not God itself. God allows them to be reflections of itself in that realm of that level of vibration. Every plane, there's basically 9 that you're going to be going through, has a certain vibration. Each one has its own sound. By the name of the sound, you'll understand how high you are. The coarse vibration of a hum of a machine versus the sound of the universe, or versus a flute, violin, a horn. Thousands of horns. I mean, the sound changes and gets stronger at every level. But if you were put from this plane into that level, your soul would just explode. The same as if God ever came down to the lower realm. It would explode. It'd be like taking a high-pitched tuning fork and putting it next to a glass. It would just shatter. We can't hold its energy, but most people don't have a clue what its energy really is. All right, I want to get into this before I leave today. People talk about God, and there's like 2 ways to look at it. God's bad. God doesn't care about anybody. God cares about soul only. It doesn't care about bodies. Soul doesn't die. So when your body dies, you're still there. So God cares about that soul, not the body that you're driving around in. You smoke, you drink, you drive cars fast and crack them up. All those things. You think God cares about that? It cares that you're not learning anything. So why would it care more about you? It doesn't. So what you did in your past life, you killed a whole bunch of people and you expect to have a happy life now? Really? So God cares about the soul, and the only way it cares about it is it allows it to keep growing if it wants to. You got a choice. Move forward or not. Stay dangerous to yourself and the world, or step out of it. But you got that choice. God doesn't have to give every. We make it for ourselves. When you attain an awareness of a state of awareness, then God hears you. Then you get sick and die. I mean, you don't need to stay here. You're not going to learn anything more here. I'm telling you the truth. Everything you need to learn is beyond this realm. Anything we do here isn't helping you attain anything about the higher realms. Smoking, drinking, making cures for a body. That's not you. Doing drugs, hypnotizing yourself to believe that you're this or what. It doesn't help soul. Doesn't teach soul about God, death, or where you really go. I mean, the astral plane or the bardo or wherever you think you're going to go for prisons and die and reincarnate and all that, it's still not beneficial because you're not talking about anything higher than that. And you don't have to go to anything lower than the higher realm of the astral plane if you're an aware being. And then again, if you're an aware being, you don't have to stay in the astral plane. You got to go through it to get to the next realm, but you'll go right through it. You don't stay there, which most soul has to do. And most soul has to reincarnate. But when you go through the astral plane into the next realm, I'll say the third world, all right, it's already getting 1,000 times more incredible. What you look like starting to change. You're not going to stay a human body looking for long. All right, on the astral plane, you will choose your age. And that's a fact. Whatever age you want to be, you'll be that. But that also determines how long you're going to be there as well. Don't choose a baby. I don't know why somebody would choose a baby on the astral plane. All right. You should pick, and I'm telling you how it would work beneficially to almost any soul that goes there. Pick an age between 26 and 36. You don't want to pick 100. You want to pick 80. You want to pick 10. You want to pick 20 and 36 because that's when you had the most knowledge here on this reality. And you were the most aware at that point. All right? Because your mind will be limited by the thoughts of being old. It's still forms, it's not real, but it'll control you from moving forward. So when you get to that place and you're thinking about, well, what age should I be? Well, when you can picture yourself being the most mobile, most aware. Well, I was 90 and I couldn't remember a thing. You don't want to be there either. I know the native people believe the elders all stay at a certain level. Sitting around a bunch of old people. Why? Why would you even want to do that? Doesn't make sense. They're not going further. They're stuck somewhere. It's called the green pastures. But again, why would I want to be there? So, most religions are so limiting to what you can understand and learn and grow within. How many religions teach you about a real God, not an imaginary one that cares and loves you and protects you, that cares what you do? Do you think it has to watch you go to the bathroom, it has to puke or any of those things? Really? If it's really watching your body? No, it doesn't. But Jesus said it's not what you put in your body, it's what comes out of it. Does anything good come out of people? Really? I love you, but how much of that do they really mean? How much of that do they really know? I'm going to do a show on love because that's a real complicated word. It doesn't exist, really. Not in this realm. God's the only thing you can truly love. And if you don't love God, you don't love anything. So, when we talk about that and relationships and all that, it comes and goes. You had many lifetimes of it over and over, and you still keep doing it, assuming it's going to get better or be right or whatever. And then I just heard somebody talk about the word soulmate. Really? Why would you limit yourself to somebody else's thoughts and thinking and their level of awareness? If you try to tie yourself to something else, you'll be tied to that forever. When you let go of everything, you're the freest you can be. You can go as high as you want. You don't got to try to drag somebody with you, which you can anyway. People believe they do, and you're my soulmate. We're set for life. For life, 125 years. Then what? You're going to stay together on the exoplane and do what? What kind of job do you think you're going to get up there? What do you think you're going to do? People don't want to talk about that. They don't even care about that, really. They just want to sit down with their family and talk. Well, I'm going to die to talk to my family. Why would I want to do that? I don't have anything important to say to them then. Why would I have anything important to say to them in the future? Oh, but you love them. Why? And what for? And what's that going to accomplish, achieve? It's going to help you understand. Nothing. People who want to get in touch with me, there's some questions in the chat room. Please, I'm trying to keep this as high as I can. Gasoline's high in Hawaii, but it's not as high as California. People, you want to talk to me directly, go on Skype, friend me, Hawksblood 2. All right. I should say 11. It's 1 and 1, but it's actually 11. Hawksblood 11. Sorry. Friend me, I'll get back to you. I always answer it unless it's a perverted call, which I'm getting a lot all of a sudden. Over the past couple months, I have to say it increased. Ever since they blocked me on LinkedIn, I have been getting more and more obscene phone calls, more obscene calls on Skype and everywhere else. I had 3,500 followers on LinkedIn, and that I lost. I was completely blocked, and I had like 5 different names I tried using, and they were all blocked. So now YouTube just gave me my site back. But again, if I say one bad thing, they'll take it away from me. So I'm going to try to stay on here as long as I can. This way, anybody can go into there, send that link to everybody you know, and they can come and pull it up. If you want to talk about reincarnation, please do. You think you know more than me? Please call me, text me, Skype me. I have my experiences in it. I worked with that most of my life. So please, I'm only here to give you the truth that can help you take your step. I don't need to take another step. I'm where I need to be. Right now, I could screw it up any second, any hour, any minute. But I try to watch everything I do. All right. And in anger, you lose your reality. So a lot of the teachers have said try to maintain balance in any situation, even in martial arts. Don't give in to the anger because that takes you out of awareness, meaning you're running from mind and not soul. The mind knows its programs and it thinks it's going to do it, and that's what it's locked into. Soul knows and sees things happening before and after, so it knows how to protect itself from that. So anger is the root to all evil and all problems and all things. But again, you can stop it. I don't know whatever technique you need or do, find one that'll help you. When you get angry and you lose control, that's what it means. Soul's not even in connection with your body. All right. I got into it a little today. I'm not going to give up on the words. I'll come back to them. I need to get you into a couple different words that I'm going to do for the next couple weeks. So, like I said, my first one was death and dying. Today was reincarnation karma. I'll let you know what my next topic will be. But whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Don't stop until you get it. You know, we want to be this, we want to be that. Feeling good is probably the worst thing you need to be, because believing in goodness and happiness and all that in a world that's called hell is delusional. You know, I was in many paths. Well, I studied 14 religions, then 2 extra ones. But the one I stayed in was a long time. But you know, when you believe it's right, you really don't want to leave it. You don't want to hear anything else. But you need to challenge everything you tell yourself is real. Is it real or isn't? Is it going to help me? All right. People drink to get away from reality. People do drugs to get away from reality. All right. I never was at that place. I never drank, never smoked, and things like that. I wasn't there. I never want to be disconnected from my body to that level. I mean, I tripped out twice in my life. And one was incredible and one was super horrible. So, drugs aren't going to help you unless you never had an experience ever and you're not getting anywhere. You were doing meditations and doing all these things and you didn't get anywhere. I would say doing ayahuasca, LSD, or something once with somebody around you might help you break that doorway open. Because you have to understand that you are something. You're not this body. All right? You can make it feel good. You make a lot of things, but you can't make it spiritually aware. Can't. Not by saying, I'm going to become spiritually aware. You got to do things and work at things. Work with separating mind from soul. Understanding how soul communicates to yourself. That's your higher self. What people say your higher self is you. You're just talking to yourself. You're not talking to anybody, not anybody that went to college or anything like that. It's just you being aware of who you really are. Instead of living in a programmed mind that you're not that. All right, people. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Hope you find it. Don't stop until you do. Please send this link to everybody you know. I lost all my followers on LinkedIn. I just canceled my list on that I sent out recently. I'm only pulling people in that definitely listen to my show. I don't want to just send emails to people that are just going to discard the email. Even if you don't tell me, I'm saying you want me, you got to email me and tell me. All right? Hawksblood 1, I'll put it in the chat room just so everybody has it. Just about every site, Facebook, Twitter, used to be linked. Hawksblood 1, Hawksblood. You'll find me. YouTube, friend me on YouTube. This way you'll get my links for every show that I do. All right, people. You heard it here first. You heard the truth only. I don't give you lies. I put my life on the line always. Tomorrow I do my UFO show. So if you're interested in that, tune in tomorrow. Till next time.